Go.
Hey, how is everybody doing today? Let's welcome you to Addicted to the Q on YouTube podcast. I've got Bradley here. I've got Mr. Sofa King himself, Brian. And then we've got Tyson Kayakamanu with Pig Kahuna and the Butcher at the Uppercut KC. How you doing tonight there, Tyson?
Oh, not too bad. Finally
Not too bad.
feeling like I'm starting to recoup.
You get a little bit of sleep, did you finally, after your long weekend?
I slept like a log.
Once you get in your own bed, it feels so much better. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I had to fight sleep long enough to get some real food in me by the time I got home last night, and then I was out.
Yeah, I do understand that. I don't know how Saturday night after I got back from smoking the spring, we stayed up till after we went and ate and had a couple margaritas, came back. I was up till midnight watching Netflix. I'm like, what am I doing up? I got no sleep last night, but get in the zone. So speaking of Mr. Brian Odom, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I know you wanted to talk to Tyson about his great weekend, so I'll just kick it over to you.
I'd like to talk to him about the picture you have displayed behind you and him getting his mojo back, working with, was it Marty Plute?
Yes, sir. Twisted Steel.
How did that weekend go, start to finish? I mean, it looked amazing at the end.
The start was rough.
Was that
Saturday
because of
night?
drinking?
The night wasn't rough. The start of the morning was rough. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. So it was both of our first times doing a pro comp. So I texted him a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, you want to team up and do a pro comp?" And I swear, 15 seconds later, he sent me back, "Yep." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" That was insanely too fast. I messed up.
He was waiting for you.
Yeah, he's something. And then we started fighting over who was going to take what and how we were going to do it, and finally got it. I finally told him, all right, he was cooking backyard last year too. It was his first year really doing barbecue. He's an awesome pit master. He can cook anything, but
last year was his first year
doing barbecue. Yeah.
Oh man, I thought he'd been doing it a while. Okay.
No, he was SCA before that.
Comps though? SCA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So he actually set the record and now is tied for the record for the most SCA wins in 1 year.
Yeah, that's right. That's crazy.
So, yeah. So he can cook some beef. So I gave him brisket. And then I was like, he didn't want to take on both big meats. Which is fair. But he, down at SCA at the World Championship, they had a rib cook off. And out of 90, he took third in ribs. So I'm like, all right.
Okay.
I know you can cook solid ribs. I know where my chicken is and what I need to tweak. I'll take chicken so I can get another practice in. And this was like, we'll do a pro comp and kind of see what happens. If nothing else, it'll be a good chicken practice for the rest of the year. And
sure.
I think we might be full-blown pro for the rest of the year. So, yeah.
Not like jumping 2 feet in.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Now, did you GC or RGC?
We RGC'd, yeah. So 7th place chicken, 5th place ribs, 5th place pork, 6th place brisket.
Then you're not locked into masters now. You can still jump back down.
For now, but I don't know that I'm gonna.
That was a SLBS, correct?
Yeah. So SLBS and KCBS don't really have a bearing on each other. The only main difference is KCBS, I think you're allowed 12 or something, and then you come back. Well, SLBS is only 4.
Which is true, but if you GC or RGC, I think they changed it this year. I know for sure if you GC, you're done with backyard.
Yeah.
If you GC a Masters, but then technically, I think it's 2 now because they called that the Ryan Kane rule. Ryan was just doing it, why not? And then he's doing just fine. He RGC'd this past weekend and smoked.
Yeah.
So. He RGC'd the Invitational. I think he's fine.
Yeah. So curious though, Ty, you guys just, You just formed a team. What did you guys call your team? I forget what you even called
Twisted Pig.
Twisted Pig. So, which is
Yeah.
a pretty cool name, honestly. I think you get Ryan Kane to make you a logo for that. That'd be pretty kick ass. That'd be.
Well, it was like I said, it was supposed to be kind of a one-off thing. He was like, I'll probably go pro, and but I don't. I'm like, all right, we'll just do it together now. We're in. So
Sure. Well, that's
screwed.
good. Well, I told somebody this weekend, I'm like, well, or no, that was you. I texted actually before. I said, if I was smart, I'd find a teammate and cook with them and split cost and split all the work, but I'm not too smart.
Yeah, so. You did say that, and I do agree, but
wow.
So all the Kevin kind of gave me the lowdown that a lot of people, rub industry and all that stuff through your business and doing SCAs. Was it just Marty Plut's rub, or like whose all rub did you use for? Is there any secrets you want to give out?
If you want to give that out.
No, so I'll be honest. One thing I think I do a lot of, because I use not a ton of rubs. I don't have 57 brands in my cabinet, but the ones I do have, I use a lot of. So I go outside the box a lot. So I believe I'm using rubs that most people wouldn't think to use the way I'm using them, which I think helps set it apart and sometimes makes it easier that you got the flavors here that you didn't think about using, but you wanted them. Now they're there because you used a pork rub on chicken or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's an insane thing to do, but so I really, for chicken and pork both, I've got I think 4 rubs total and a finisher, and that's it. So
that's pretty good. That's
Twisted Steel. I use some Aces Wild, Bum, and then Twisted Oliver. Possum does.
Oh, okay, Twisted Oliver. I remember him now.
Man, I still haven't opened that bottle I bought from you. I want to try that possum. I just think the name's awesome, but I think, and I've heard so much good stuff about it from you and some others, so I got to try that. So
yeah.
So you did pork and chicken.
Yeah.
Did you do
ribs and brisket?
Straight money muscles? Did you do some tubes in there?
I did. So I cooked 3 collars. I didn't realize till I got there that one of the money muscles was a little mangled on the underside that I didn't see before. So I had 2 money muscles to run, and I used the tubes for pulled, and that's what I put in the box. So
okay. Now
the boxes look solid. They looked really good.
They look beautiful.
They look good.
Thank you.
They look better than what Brad does.
Well, that ain't saying much.
It's not too hard. I mean, I'll bet this up for Brad to see what chicken's supposed to look like.
That's what it's supposed to look like, yes.
Well, yeah, that's what I've been trying to get it to look like since last July, and Kevin will attest to that.
Yeah,
Brad said he's having a little issue. He's like, I'm doing a chicken practice this weekend.
Well, that's the bad part is I was chasing my tail for a year trying to get my chicken consistent, and you don't ever want to practice chicken. You don't want to trim chicken when you don't have to. That's the crappy part.
Yeah.
Well, who is it? Is it? I know Kevin. You trim chicken in a hotel room, make it look like a murder scene. But someone
that's
else,
his finger, not the chicken.
It was Take It Easy. Dan Wright. He trims like 5 comps worth, and just freezes them. He said makes it easier for him.
He only cooks 8.
I think you can. I think you can do that. I really do. I mean, you got to be careful. If you buy quality chicken, you buy it when it's fresh. Rumor is Travis Clark supposedly years ago used to trim half a season and freeze it. So, most chicken comes somewhat frozen anyways at the grocery stores. So, you're even smart chicken like a lot of us cook. Even Springer Farm that you guys cook, it's frozen at some point. I don't care what anybody says. So
no, it's frozen when it's in my freezer.
Yeah.
A quick shout out to our sponsors, King Louie's Meat Apostle Barbecue Rub, Inkbird Thermometers, Rum Runners Barbecue, Butcher Barbecue and all their goodies, Springer Mountain Farms Chicken, the best charcoal out there, the Good Charcoal Company, The only Vortex drum, Hunsaker Drums. Now back to Brian, Brad, and the bum.
I mean, so big question is, I know where you work. Did you trim at work?
Yeah. Not chicken. Not chicken. That was not a mess or a task I was going to take on and get caught in the middle of at work. But
Yeah.
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 the rest of it, yeah.
Yeah. Mariah,
I mean,
if you watch this later, Mariah, he did not trim chicken at work.
No, I didn't trim chicken, but she caught me trimming other stuff, and she's like, "Oh, that's a nice brisket." She said, "Whose is that?" I said, "Oh, it's ours. It's for this weekend."
Marty's paying for it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So where was this comp at?
Why can't I? Oh, Eureka, Missouri.
Eureka.
So
Okay. Kevin did Osage, so
yeah, so we were opposite ends of Missouri, basically.
Yeah.
I was
Eureka's
over by
just-
St. Louis, and he
just
was
southeast of St. Louis slightly, or
Yeah.
southwest
Yeah.
slightly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I've been at. Is that in like a parking lot, a big parking? Every comp's in a parking lot, Kevin. Duh, no shit. Never mind. Is there a creek close to there that's running close to one side of it? Because I swear I went to that comp once. Now that you said that,
I'm not sure. It's at a KOA campground.
Okay.
Oh, then it's a different one then. Oh, that's right. This was the KOA one. That's
Yeah.
right.
So they rent out 30 spots, and it's spots included in your entry fee.
What I want to ask about that you had sent pictures on, and I think Brian made a comment. That award, do you have that there? You could show. Man, that's a pretty darn cool.
That's
Is that like a
cool,
medal?
for sure.
Is that like a metal
Yeah.
sign that you put up?
Yeah.
Wow, I like that. I like
And
the
it's
big
like-
put on there.
3 or 4 different layers on there that they piece together.
Yeah, I
can
the
see that.
shadow. That's
Yeah.
pretty slick.
You know, I always say when friends ask me about it, I'm like, we don't do competitions to win money. I mean, we don't make money, I guess. I said we do it for what cool trophy and where our friends are going to be. That's
Yeah.
what we do,
Yeah,
the award. That's why I keep going back to Excelsior Springs. One day I'm going to get one of those wooden biplanes. I promise you. This is one of the coolest ones out there. So, yeah.
So you taught Kevin how to do 10th place steak. Did he teach you?
Okay.
how to
Well,
do
let's
grated
back.
chicken?
Let's back up. I don't know if he really taught me. It just happened. So he was nervous 2 trailers down. He didn't want to come out and see what I screwed up. So.
Top 10 steak.
I guess
I
it wouldn't have
had
mattered
to.
anyway. I screwed that barbecue cook. I should just come and help you with the steak.
Yeah, maybe I'd have gotten 9th then. I don't know.
I
Well.
had to move my drum around 2 times just because the wind kept cranking her up.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't windy that day as it was the day before. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it
least-
happens.
Wasn't as windy as this weekend. I know.
I was going to say, Kevin got
No.
some wind this weekend.
All I know is that Saturday morning, Ryan Kane was right next to me, and he has a bigger, like a camper now, like a toy hauler. And Josh Blevins and I are standing there in the shade about 10 o'clock. And if you were in the sun, it was decent. But in the shade, it was about 15, 20 degrees colder. And then Ryan said, "Hey, Ryan, you're blocking the sun." He goes, "I'm also blocking the wind for you, Kevin." I said, "Good point. Don't move. Just stay right there." And then the wind shifted and it came straight out of the south. And luckily, only thing I had on still was, I think I had like 1 rack of ribs left or something. It was the end of chicken, and that was it. And it was crazy with that wind howling, watching everybody lost chair covers and trash cans and stuff all over. So
Did you have the easy up or was that
no, I knew. I said I am not. I thought I left it at home, but it was I leave it in the trailer, and so I just wheeled it out and put it right next. And I still haven't fixed those 2. I got to fix those 2 pieces from Tahlequah last year when the wind flipped it up over my trailer. So it stands up fine. So I didn't think you'd want to help me pay for another one, so I gotta fix it myself.
Well, it's just ordering the crossbars.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we went with that one, because it's easy to replace crossbars. So
Oh yeah.
no, that was awesome, Tyson. You tried calling me. I was in the middle of I don't know what I was doing. It was something, but when you tried, we were doing yesterday's podcast when you won, but so that was really cool when you texted me, and I gave a shout out on the podcast. I said, breaking news. I was with my phone. Breaking news. We got RGCs. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
I was excited. I mean, Cloud 9, obviously, but when we first got the chicken and rib call, we were like, okay, those are the two categories we know. We cook backyard for a year, we can cook chicken and ribs, and we were going to be happy. That was going to be a solid day for us. And then we got the next two calls, and obviously RGC, we were stoked. But man, at the end of the day, I was so happy to put one consistent, solid cook together, because that's what I struggled with last year. Was I'd have an awesome rib day and my chicken would fall off, or I'd have 8th place chicken, 8th place ribs, and it doesn't do anything. And then it's funny. One of the teams there, we cooked backyard together last year. It was their first pro comp too, and it was actually the Three Stooges.
Three Stooges, yeah.
So they were telling me last year at trekking out in Illinois, another comp, they had got a high chicken call and they got a high rib call. And they said they were hoping on me because they know my ribs were pretty consistent last year, but when they weren't, they were just bad. It was just all or nothing on those. And they said they were so excited when I took first place rib because they knew they had GC. So I helped them is what they said.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't met those guys in person yet, but they seem like a lot of fun. That's for sure. They like their Fireball. I seem to have picked teams for the bum squad that like Fireball, and they wear shirts bigger than me for sure. But it's they definitely like the fire. Like I was getting bum squad shirts. I'm like, oh my God, another 4X. I was like, holy cow. I'm like, at least I got bodyguards if I need them, I guess. So
barbecue medium.
Yeah. But
so out of all the rubs and the guys that you talk to, what are you looking out of the rub? What do you look for profile wise for each protein?
I mean, I think it's like I said, I think I use, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everyone else is using things in a way they're not labeled or created to be used. But I think what I do or try to do or incorporate is, all right, well, this is sold as Marty Plute as, it's called steak appeal. It's a steak rub, a steak finishing rub. That goes on my chicken. It's got a savory note, a little bit of sweet, but it's just like, I don't care what it's, I'll look at granule size and stuff like that, but I don't care what it says it's for, anything like that. If it's the flavor I want, I'm going to use it for how now, if it becomes a problem where it's, not consistent or you open it to use it and it's one clump new, well, then that's going to be frustrating enough. I'm probably not going to use it. But other than that, I'm just trying to find rubs that meet what flavor profiles I want.
Yeah.
And I can work on other stuff. I mean, there's rubs, even Kevin knows because he's had a conversation about this with one of his teams of, if there's something in there I don't want, but I want the rest of it, I'll go through and flick it out or pick it off, or I can work with them, but they got to work.
Yeah. Well, and like when you were walking through the whole, process with SCA, showing me how to, the SCA steps with cooking the steak.
Yeah.
And I still remember when you sat out the number of rubs that you did, I'm like, holy shit, that's more than I use on a brisket, but it's different layers. And I remember we even played with, I tried to find stuff that I knew I had that was somewhat similar, and we were close. There was a couple there. We knew, like Johnny Joseph, I had nothing that fit that flavor profile. But it's interesting how you do that. And I think it does go on. But I think what it is, you have to have the balls or the time to try it and practice it, to figure that out. Otherwise, a lot of barbecue seems to be, and I don't mean this bad, but like a monkey see, monkey do. Okay, I know everybody's using this, so I'm going to use this. But at least if you know what people are using, then you're like, okay, I know what the flavor of those three for ribs are. I know I've got something that I can that I prefer to use because of whatever that may be, like you said, just a little bit different pop and flavor that can do that. So that's good. I like that.
Yeah, and that's like, and I'll touch back on what you said earlier, Brian. If Kevin taught me everything, 75% of it probably. I mean, to at least get me going on backyard. I blew up his phone yesterday with new questions I had, and today.
Yeah, he did.
But,
He's a good guy about responding. I mean, if he's not at work and in a meeting, he'll give you some good secrets.
well, if he's not in a meeting, he's not doing anything else. So.
I've texted from meetings before. It just depends.
But yeah, I mean, that goes back to the same thing as even some of the rubs he gave me in notes. I didn't even know what the abbreviations were, what the rubs were, but I'm like, all right, well, this one here, this one here, this one here. So this one's got to be, this range of flavors. And it's kind of, if you know what you want it to taste like, you can imagine in your mind. But that also comes back to, like you were saying on the steak, is layering.
Mm-hmm.
You layer your profiles the way you want them to hit. And I think that to me, that stands out a lot more in steak than barbecue, just because barbecue cooks so much longer. It's got so much longer to meld together that the steak, if your pepper rubs right on top or heavy salt, it's not going to sweat away like other big meats that will absorb it. That's what you're going to get up front.
Plus,
so I think
you're throwing a sauce over the top of it. I always wonder, I'm like, could I just cook, chicken and ribs pretty basic and just put a sauce on it and it would do okay? I mean, or pork, actually. Pork, you rarely have any bark there. So it's, I've always wondered that. Now, do I have the balls to try it that in a comp? No. Of course, the way my pork scored this last weekend, I should have tried it. So who knows?
Maybe the next one.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, you guys all know that I'll share whatever I have to help people along and stuff. And in the end, you still got to cook it. You still got to cook it the right way. And that's the true I mean, I went next door. I did turkey, this last weekend, first time I'd done turkey, and my score was really good. I got 17th, but there was, 49 teams, I think, that did turkey. But I went next door to Ryan King because I told him, hey man, what you showed me how to, and I followed kind of his flavor profile. And he's like, you still cooked it. It was good. And heck, actually, I just had a sandwich with it. And I don't like turkey. And this was good. But yeah, you play with it and all that. So,
yeah. And I think the thing about that in any food sport is there's some people that they don't want to share. There's some people that they're telling you they're doing this or that. And maybe that's what they did last year, which some things keep for yourself. But I've noticed a lot because I'm, even SCA, I'm only 5 years in now. And I, with 2020, that's really only 4. But there's a lot of people in SCA that have been there since the beginning. There's a lot of people in barbecue that have been there, 20, 30 years. But it's like, if you're willing to share, you might actually learn something too, because there's a lot of people that have taught me a lot. And then I've picked up something and they're like, oh, I've never thought of it that way. Or I'm like, well, now we're even. We've traded something instead of you just giving me everything.
Yeah. Well, it becomes a conversation. Greg Hasty said it well on, I know, some of his podcast stuff. If you just talk to people, or if you hang out, if you have time to hang out, I've tried to get much better over the years on Friday night to go talk to people and just hang out a little bit, because that's the fun part of what we do. But if you just listen to people and talk and have a conversation, as opposed to coming up, hey, can you tell me how you do this? People are willing to share stuff and whatever, with the teams that I sponsored that use my rubs and stuff. Honestly, it was great. I got my calls. I loved it. I was happy with it, but it was almost cooler to see all the people that got calls that I know use my rubs, or even
that was a big list of people you had this week.
That was really cool. Huge. And then I had 2 other people shot me a message. Oh, Kevin, I did. I'm like, oh, so it was really cool. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I like seeing that, and whatever aspect they used it in, I don't ask them, but hey, they use, because there's all different ways to use stuff. You never know. They use it in a finished dust. They may use it in something else. So, may have thrown it over their shoulder for good luck and whatever. So, but that is always the fun fun part seeing that. So, well, let's talk about what you do that helps pay for competitions. You work at the Uppercut KC in Kansas City, Missouri, which, for those who don't know, it is on the north side of Kansas City near Liberty. A lot of people know where Liberty is, so it's actually just across the I-35 there. Tell me about the Uppercut. I know the Uppercut well. I've been a customer for years. What do you do there?
I'm the lead butcher there, so I do everything on the back end, pretty much as far as breaking beef, proteins, products as sausage, bacons, everything like that, and then training apprentices and butchers. So inventory, that all the fun stuff too. Below that.
All the fun stuff that goes with that lead portion of the title, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have like cows hanging from those hooks?
No, so we don't have a
Rocky
rail
Balboa
system.
that sometimes.
Well, no, I just use my apprentices for that. No, we don't have a rail system. We break on a block right now. Hopefully soon we will have a rail system, or at least a hanging cooler. But that's a completely different. Breaking beef off a rail and breaking on a block are two different things too. So that's a whole nother.
I can only imagine. Yeah, you get the stability of on a block, but you got to move it a lot more versus hanging. You can spin, but it's not as stable. So that's
or it's going to come down on you. One of the two.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Do you go through a school for all that?
No. So there are meat schools. There's a lot of, I will say, more rural area, not rural, farm town areas.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have, their 4-H programs will have even meat grading teams and livestock teams that they'll get into some, butchery stuff like that, but more of like a farm side butchery as far as instead of retail. But like Texas A&M actually has a big, they're a big beef and protein school. I'm sure you can learn butchery there, but as far as like a set standard online course, anything like that, there's not. And there's not a set, there's no bar exam to say, all right, now you're a butcher. It's just kind of, you're an apprentice until someone decides you're not.
So where did you learn your skills and your trade then? How did you get to where you are now?
I learned it at the Uppercut.
Did you really? I didn't. I thought you worked somewhere else beforehand.
No, I went straight from the Ford plant to Uppercut.
Wow.
Yeah.
From sweating in the Ford plant, putting cars together to at least temperature control. Still sweating probably, but
yeah, still.
Yeah.
One of my best decisions. So.
Oh yeah.
But it's people think, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, I've got into basically my trajectory was I was at Ford, and then in 2015 when they switched to the aluminum bodies, we had like a 4-month layoff while they retooling the whole plant. And that's I watched every barbecue pitmasters plus every other barbecue show I could find on a jailbroke Amazon Fire Stick at that time. And then that's when I started getting into barbecue, but not at a competitive level. I was I bought my first smoker, and it was electric master built and all that. And then you go on to, Weber Smoky Mountain. And then eventually you think you've cooked everything and you're tired of cooking at home, and you decide to do competition and realize you made a mistake. And then
you're broke.
then you're broke and bored because you did competition, and then you become a butcher, I guess, and then go back to competition. But that was kind of my trajectory into both those worlds, was this kind of wanting more and more out of protein and cooking.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So let's talk more about the Uppercut. Mariah Kincaid's the owner. Or one of the owners. Is her and Derry, is that correct?
Derry. Yep.
Tell us about, I mean, I know they raise their own beef. Talk about what you guys are known for, and talk about local products, that, kind of that type of stuff.
So Derry is a hell of a rancher. She's got they just had their bull sale this couple months ago and sold, I think it was like 85 bulls in one day. I mean, that
Wow.
creates a lot more cows. 85 bulls creates a lot more cows. So,
Yeah.
but they have a few breeds actually. So they raise Angus and sell a lot of fat cattle that way. And then the one that we're kind of known for in our shop, even though we sell the Angus, we tell everyone, that's going to be similar price point to, your local grocery stores and all that. A little higher quality though. We know, they can control it through mating and everything, well, insemination, however you want to put that, but they can control that. But then we have the Akushi, which is one of the 4 breeds of Wagyu. So,
go into more depth on that. People always ask me, and I hope I've been giving them the right explanation. So,
well, I hope so too. But it's one of the 4 breeds. It's the red, kind of a light brown red color cow. They were brought over originally, I believe, in '92, and they Heart Brand Ranch brought 12 of them, I believe it was, and those were the only reason they were able to bring them over was through some slip in trade tariffs or something like that lapsed, and just gave them a big enough window to get them over here. And those were the beginning of them, but that's the only way they got here. But in Japan, they were working on that breed since like the 70s, and they would not sell to the public till they perfected it. But that was called the Emperor's breed. So that was the high end of the 4 breeds of Wagyu.
So it's a true Japanese Wagyu then? Is that correct?
The original genetics are straight from Japan.
Okay.
And then, so Heart Brand had, like I said, the original, however many it was, cattle. It was only a handful. And basically, to get any from them, you had to go, basically application and vetting process before they would even sell you genetics. So they're pretty strict, and that's why a lot of the Akushi anywhere through the U.S. is pretty high quality.
Yeah. And there's still only a handful of ranchers that are allowed to raise and breed Akushi. Isn't that correct in the United States?
Yeah, I don't know how many. Like I said, it's just they were so selective, and there was only so few to start that it's not like they brought in a few thousand and just dispersed them through the U.S. They grew a herd, then they sold genetics, and then they still, that ranch still monitors kind of what goes on through the U.S. with Akushi. So,
well, and I've John Atwell with Jousting Pigs is who turned me on to Akushi, because I know he cooked with them and got a lot of stuff from you guys even before he had his restaurant. But I've been cooking those for quite a while, and I can say the flavor's great. Brian, you've been with me when I've cooked them. They cook
Brian's
well.
Got 3 points to cook still.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Those are all mine too.
But I mean, I love the flavor. I love the way they cook. They've kind of, I wish now I would have kind of kept my mouth shut early on, because there's a lot of comp teams that are cooking them now, besides you smuggling them over to St. Louis.
Ooh, don't say that. No, okay. I'll touch on that. Because I don't want any bad blood.
Nope. Sorry.
So Jay LaBello over at Cordy Meat Processing, he's kind of the brisket king over in the St. Louis area, but he's got some reach out this way, and I think we've got kind of a love-hate relationship there. And I won't even say hate. We just know that we're kind of a competitive market within 4 or 5 hours of each other, but we kind of respect each other's boundaries. But he unfortunately had a lapse in his brisket supply, so he's back on it now. But his only option was to bring in Snake River, and Kevin will attest to this. I had people at the Royal reaching out to me because they're I will just say, some people think that Snake River has outgrown what they used to be and not able to keep up a standard they used to have. That's all I will say about that. And that's me being the messenger, not the accuse it.
Sure. Well, an advantage coming in there to pick out briskets.
Yeah.
They're not frozen solid. Anytime you got to block a 15-pound to 20-pound hunk of meat, you can only tell so much what you really have. So that's an advantage. It isn't frozen. I mean, you guys have aged yours, to an extent and all that stuff. So that's a wonderful thing. I will say, I'm going to put out there, anybody that wants to go for competition, pick out a brisket. You come with your patience. There's not a ton of room on that counter. And when there's not other customers in there, that's when you take your time. I've been pretty conscious of what you guys have going on. Heck, I remember one year I called, Mariah had the iPhone. We did a FaceTime and she picked out briskets because I recognize that. I mean, that's not your main niche, even though it's growing for you guys.
Oh, it's growing pretty fast, but
right now you only have so much room. I'm looking forward to possibly growing, so that'll be awesome. So, talk about the farm to tables. I know you guys just had one, so that's a cool. So, Uppercut, family owned, butcher shop, what I call old school butcher shop. I know there's more and more that are coming. I think most of us grew up with, hey, there's a grocery store and that's where everything comes in a styrofoam container with saran wrap. I don't think most people understand. And so you have to explain when you walk into the Uppercut, just because they got stuff in a counter doesn't mean that you can't, that's an inch. I want an 1.5 inch thick cut strip. Okay. We'll go back and we'll cut it to what you want. So you can get custom cut meats. It's family owned. Everything in there is local. Is that correct?
Yeah, for the most part. If every once in a while we'll have to get lamb from New Zealand or something. But other than that, even our bison is, through a local company. Honeys, jams. I mean, we try to keep everything U.S. or Missouri, if not Kansas City.
You guys make all your own sausages and brats and stuff, which that burnt end brat is still the best one out there. I mean, I think I have 2 packages down in the freezer right now.
I got a few calls at the Royal last year. I'll say that.
Yeah. So, but talk about, so you guys started Farm to Table several years ago. But talk about that. That's quite an event. You two should treat your wives to that. Come to that. It is a blast. So,
it's a 5-course meal. Everything we prep ourselves. We cook. We serve. Try to keep everything in that as local as we can. Showcase the beef, but also introduce people to new things. We've done, some things that are considered, either harder to find or butcher's cuts in some areas. I mean, that's the advantage we have of doing our own beef in house is we'll sell you every cut. We've turned a lot of people on to new things because people are stubborn. They get into a way and they don't want to try anything new. And so you almost have to force them to try new things. And then they're pleasantly surprised. And then they come buy new things. But I mean, that's marketing. But so the Farm to Table is a 5-course meal. This last one we did there's a happy hour. We've got a full cash bar with bartenders.
And this is out in Kearney, out at Mariah's farm, or the farm.
It's on the farm that the beef are raised on.
Yeah.
There's charcuterie on the table when you come. This last one was, if I can remember all the courses, there was a salad and bread to start. The appetizer was either a akushi beef slider or a crab and lobster cake. And then a lamb ragu for the next one. And then you had your choice of the akushi prime rib or filet medallions. And then a local bakery did a bunch of little pie tarts. But it was 200 people, so 4 courses. We did 800 plates in an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, and the food. I mean, you don't leave hungry. Believe me, you don't leave thirsty. It's that Dave Eckert was at the one that Kelly and I attended. He was doing wine pairings, and Kelly signed up for that. And yeah, it was quite a
You
bit of
drove
wine.
home that night?
Oh yes, which is unusual, but yes, I did. I stopped drinking after 2.
Yeah, and we try to do. I mean, we give farm tours and stuff too, and we try to make it more than just a meal, kind of a whole experience. And people they're getting more and more connected, but a lot of people are disconnected from where their food comes from, what the processes are, why they can't, walk in and order, 50 pounds of whatever and have it instantly. It's not coming in a cryovac cut already, or we got to go do it for you. It's not a grocery store kind of thing. So
Well, COVID, I know this sounds weird because I say it with my daytime job at 2. COVID was good in a way for you guys because it forced people away from, all of a sudden there was problems with getting meat at grocery stores. People were scared to where their meat was coming from and what was going on because of all the stuff out there. And they came in and they knew, oh, it's locally raised. We know where it is. It's processed here. They could see everything. But then when they realized what they're getting and how good it was, but you're right. But now they're kind of they expect to come in and, what do you mean I can't just buy 50 chicken thighs and they're ready to go type of thing, Or what I love is your fresh seafood. We don't have an ocean close, but you guys fly in some seafood. And I saw scallops are back. The scallops, those are some big old.
They're big.
Scallops.
They're big,
and they're good. But yeah, so that is the cool part of you can't get that at the local grocery stores. At least I don't feel you can. So.
And not to knock anyone, but because I've done it and I've gone, and they go and they'll grab the styrofoam packs and they'll slap the labels on them and hand them to you. That's what.
Yep.
That's how they're able to do it for you there.
Well, there's a grocery store down the road from me, closer to between Riss Lake and like Thousand Oaks, that will take Prairie Fresh out of the cryovac packages and trim it up a little bit and puts it in the red styrofoam containers and wraps it up, makes it look nice and neat. And I know it's Prairie Fresh because Butcher told me that 2 years ago. So yeah, it's just Prairie Fresh. I'm like, oh, you should see how they ruin a good pork butt too. Oh my God. I'm like, what? You ruined what I wanted.
Yeah, where's the other half of this one? I want the other half of it.
Yeah.
The money muscle on it.
That's awesome. Well, that's cool. Now, go ahead.
How many brats do you guys have down there?
What was that?
How many brats?
Flavors?
Yeah, flavor-wise.
I think we
20,
have
30, 40, 50.
Take your shoes off.
13 staple brats, and we kind of stopped there because we ran out of room to have regular flavors. But I think starting this week, we're going back to, 1 or 2 specialty flavors a week for the summer. And those ones are fun because I get to play around. And I've done everything from I think this week we're going to do a loaded potato brat. I've done a strawberry mojito brat.
Loaded potatoes.
Is the burn-in brat like a staple? Is that a everyday?
Oh, yes.
You better get in there because, especially on a Friday.
Well,
if you want me to pick some up, I can bring them down to you, Brian. So.
That's bet definitely.
Of course, they deliver.
What's that?
We deliver.
They deliver.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, how you doing, Tyson?
Yeah. Well, not me.
No.
Nate, was it Crafty's Meat Market up in Iowa? I came home. I did a showcase for our rubs up there, and I came home. I had like 30 packages of brats, different brats, and that burn-in brat. That sounds. I'm like, okay, so I don't need to go to Iowa or order from them. I'm coming to you.
No.
So, I've done. I don't know how many custom flavor brats too. I've done custom flavors for the Royal, just custom flavors no one can find anywhere else. They got some harebrained idea that they want XYZ in a brat. I'll figure out a way to make it work. We got minimum order sizes and stuff, but
yeah,
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, nice.
And Brian, what you can do when you're up spraying bugs at my house or some other time for Scout Pest Control, there's a call out there. You could stop in around lunchtime and quit playing with yourself. And you could get one of the wonderful sandwiches that can feed 16 people from the Uppercut KC.
Oh,
And then pick up some brats.
so you serve lunch daily too?
They don't serve tofu there or tofu broths.
I don't eat tofu. That's the wife. So, Kevin, I think your service is coming up. No, I'm not going to check. But definitely next time I'm up there. Yeah, because I got Brisk Lake, like you said, and then up by the Harley Davidson place, I got a couple businesses up that direction. I try to hit when I do Kevin's house. So,
or even Randall's, or if you go up to Kearney.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wrapped back around. So yeah, the lunch. So I thought. Go ahead.
We're this week we're introducing. It was supposed to be the new shop, but we're not going to wait anymore. We're rolling stuff out now. It's build your own brat on the lunch menu. So choose a brat. It'll be whatever's fresh that week, and then you'll get. I don't remember how many I was talking to her earlier, but so many toppings on it. And then you can add extras too. If you want, it'll come with the side and a pickle spear like the sandwiches do.
Oh man.
Caramelized onions, bacon.
I've tried, you guys keep adding new ones. So I haven't tried them all, but I've tried a good portion of them. But this last lobster roll that you guys had, that was so damn good. I got it and I'm like, there's no way I can eat it all. I go out to my truck. I took a couple pictures and a video, and I think 5 minutes later it was gone and I was back in the store. It was so good. So
I don't think I ever told you the count on that. Did you hear?
You said it was crazy. I can't remember what, but
I think it was 163 lobster rolls that week.
I believe it. I believe it. I tell you what, I fully admit I thought Mariah was crazy when she said that you guys were going to start doing lunches there.
Don't ask her about the backstory on that because I've recently brought it. She was like, she was totally sold. It was going to be cold sandwiches and anyone could come up and make them. It'd take a few minutes and they'd be back out the door. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
No, now we're at 100 sandwiches a day sometimes plus on the weekends. And they're all hot sandwiches.
No, but it is. It's a process. So you need to call ahead, people. Call ahead. I even call ahead, and I know everybody there. Just don't, and just be patient with it. But it's great. They serve it for you to go, and it's awesome. But you don't get food like that anywhere else. I'm sorry, you don't at all. There's plenty there, and it's all good quality food. So it's awesome.
Yeah, when we first rolled it out, people were a little reluctant because of the prices. And then we're like, our prices are, $3 more than Panera, and that's half the food and, a quarter of the quality.
A quarter of the food. I mean, these sandwiches are big. Literally, I think three of us could share one sandwich, depending on what it is. Some of them.
Yeah, I had a buddy come into town, him and his girlfriend, and he stayed at another buddy's house and his wife. So they ordered 4 sandwiches and came and picked them up, and they got 4 different sandwiches. They each picked their own, but they were going to kind of share. So he said between the 4 of us, we had one full entire sandwich left. I'm like,
I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it. They're huge.
I'm going to bring up something else that's unique to you guys compared to anybody else in Kansas City, or I think probably in the Midwest, especially since in St. Louis, they don't have a football team. Not that the football team here is my favorite, but you guys, a lot of the Chiefs players or trainers get their products from you guys for the players during the season. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. We're super fortunate and thankful for that because we take it as a compliment, that not only is the beef and stuff we're bringing in quality, it's quality going out. The cuts are good. It's not getting mangled. Travis Kelsey's chef, personal chef, shops with us. So bane of my existence, but he ordered bone-in fillets for him one time, and then they did good, and it became a
No, that's what he
game. Yeah, it became an every week thing, and I had to cut bone-in fillets for Travis Kelce every week, and then he started dating Taylor, and then I had to cut one more every week, and man,
first world problems.
Yeah, I
Hard
know.
luck. I know somebody.
I
that's
know. I've never met him in person or anything. I've met his chef. That's it. So,
But
Well,
But, I
I
mean,
didn't
that-
know about him before Taylor Swift. Didn't she like make him really popular?
yeah, she got him his job.
Yep.
Well, but that shows a testament to what you guys have available there at the uppercut is if these professional athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, these chefs, these trainers, and speaking of trainers, not only a lot of Chiefs players, you've got the Kansas City Current, the women's professional soccer team. So you have these trainers; they're pretty particular in what they put in their bodies, kind of like you and I are, Tyson. I mean, we built our temples.
Yeah, a lot of carbs, a lot of carbs.
But I don't know. That to me, that is a cool story that they attest to that. I know that tailgate thing that we did, as opposed to partner, there were some current players there.
Yeah. Keith
doing
Cash was
autographs
there.
That's right. Yep, Keith Cash was there.
I forgot who else. The other Chiefs player, I always forget his name, but was it three or four of the KC Current girls were there?
Mm-hmm.
Some local food bloggers and stuff, but
yeah,
it's cool to be rooted in the community so much that we are, in the mix with something so large.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's and I think you are part of the Kansas City food culture. I think you've mixed in there. Mariah's done a good job of placing herself well with that and with what you guys create there in the store as the team. I think it's done great. We just need to figure out how now that you and I can go cook barbecue I'll be a Chiefs fan if I can go cook some barbecue for Travis Kelce. I'll be okay with that. So I'll put on a red shirt.
You guys butcher for restaurants?
A few. The hard part about restaurants is they're very inconsistent as far as ordering. They just don't know what's going to be hot that week, that month. Yeah. We do a few right now, but we had one that wanted to have us. Basically, they were butchering their own in-house, and they not able to do it anymore, and they wanted to basically bump us up 10 beef a week to get to them. Oh.
I forgot I picked this up today for you.
Well, hot
two.
Oh. Well, thank you.
Pig Kahuna koozies from my buddy Brendan Walker, who does the laser engraving and actually made some new bum shirts too. Sorry to interject there.
No, you're good. You're good. But restaurants are just hard because our schedule is so full we do the farm to tables. We do, if it's not a holiday week, we're trying to catch up from the holiday week, the week before. So it's just, and we only have so many, we only have enough room to have so many staff. We're a 1,200 square foot building. So,
Well, I was just thinking because you were mentioning how Kelsey's professional or private chef, whatever, comes in.
Yeah.
Because now isn't it Kelsey and Mahomes doing like a high-end steakhouse or something like that?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have some bone-in fillets on that menu, but I don't think we'll be able to keep up with the volume. I assume they'll do.
Yeah. I don't think any of us will be able to afford to eat there either.
No.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
3 of us go in, order 1 steak.
Yeah. We were approached with an opportunity last year to basically do a concession at a stadium, but doing the math we didn't even have the room to do the prep to send an extra set of staff, hire an extra staff to go out there and run it. It would take in almost, a small walk-in cooler just to hold what you're going to sell on a Sunday or Saturday at a stadium
Oh.
somewhere.
Yeah, I knew somebody that had a place at Arrowhead for a while, and they said it was great, but the process.
It's
and
basically
everything
its
like
own
that-
business.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole separate. It's a catering business that you have to go and then actually not cater.
Yeah.
You actually have to sell like regular. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. So I missed it earlier. You said the new place is where?
It's right next to your house.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
When you move this way, it'll be right next to your house.
Oh, no, I lived near Liberty once. I ain't going near that traffic again. So,
Oh man.
so where are we at on time, Bradley? Got 5 minutes left.
We are 55 minutes, so we're pretty
Okay.
much there.
All right, we're getting close. What's Tyson? What's next for you, cooking wise? Do you know next comp SCA? I know you're still doing some SCA.
Yeah, the hard part about SCA is it's got to find its equilibrium again. It got oversaturated right after COVID. Everyone wanted to get out and do stuff, and then the numbers dropped off because it was so oversaturated that contests couldn't hit their numbers to even break even. So now it's starting to get back there, but 3 weeks I'm going back east again. So
Are you okay?
yeah,
On the Illinois side or on the Missouri side?
Missouri.
Okay.
Chesterfield.
Chesterfield. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I had put out a whole schedule, and then I didn't write it down myself. So my wife has weekends in her planner where I'm going to be gone, but I don't. I got to keep checking all 4 different sanctioning websites every week to see where I'm going. So
Yeah. Well, I've got a plan. I found out my wife and daughter are going to Mexico and first weekend in June, like the 31st of May, 1st and 2nd. So I guess I have to find a competition to go to. So,
well, I guess
it's either Minnesota or South Dakota.
Oh,
That's, I think, well, both are at a campground from what I understand. I've always wanted to cook up in South Dakota. I used to go up there all the time fishing as a kid. So,
I was crazy enough in 21 when I was trying to chase points in SCA. I went to Wisconsin twice in 1 year, and then I think Texas 2 or 3 times. And I'm like, I don't want to ever get back to, you get off work for the weekend, you prep everything, you leave, you get back in the door, you go to sleep, and you go to work. I mean, it was just as tiring not being at work as it was being at work.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's why I'll never chase that stuff. But I figure it'll be something fun to do, something different. But
oh yeah.
But no, you guys have anything else you can think of for Tyson?
Tyson, you got any sponsors you want to shout out?
Oh yeah, you got any sponsors?
Big shout out to Marty Plute and Twisted Steel. Not only is he a sponsor, he's taken me under his wing, and he's opened his house for my whole family. So that's become an awesome relationship in general. DB 180, Royal Oak
stuff,
Uppercut. I'll give old Tad a shout out. Gemini Grill Fixtures. He always keeps me. Okay. If you need, he'll come up with any design for any contraption you can think of for any cooker you have. So
I was so disappointed he had to back out of Smoking the Spring this past weekend. I didn't get to see him, which is probably good to save my liver. He was going to cook with somebody else, but probably save my liver some. So
yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay.
Come see me at the Uppercut.
Especially
if you need briskets.
Or the Royal Backyard if you need points.
There you go.
Yeah. Let me know a day before and I'll bring them out.
There you go.
If you need comp meats and we're going to be in the same area, I will bring them, but you got to give me notice.
Yeah.
That's my only stipulation. I'm not going to stay at work late on a Friday night to trim your brisket to bring it out that night for you. You gotta let me know early.
Or you say if you're going to be there to actually show up.
Well, that'd be nice. Yeah. If it's paid for, you can get it later, I guess. But
well, that's true. I've done that too. So, yeah. Now, thanks for coming on, Tyson.
Thank you.
Great to have you on, and definitely learned a lot of things. This is great. I hope things continue to work well there at the at the Uppercut, and good luck to you guys. GC's next, man. You're right there.
Yep.
Right there.
That's the only thing left. That and some perfects.
There you
That's
go.
Mr. Perfect here.
Yep.
Get lucky once in a while. So
Well, I would take one anytime now.
That's true. That's true. All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good evening.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Thank you,
Take
guys.
care. Bye.
Bye.